The need to belong is as essential as food and water. Today we're unboxing a conversation with Paula Gold, a very respected voice in leadership, innovation, and the future of work, both in Iceland and internationally. Stay with us as we explore how it's possible to belong while staying true to who we are. But how are you, Paula?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Oh no, thank you for being here with
Yeah.
me. I I want to go back a little bit. I
Yeah.
remember when we had this first interaction,
Yeah.
intimate
Yeah.
interaction. We were in Copenhagen, we're having some
Coffee
coffee,
talk.
and we have our kids. You had your kids. I didn't
Yeah.
have mine,
Yeah.
but it was really nice because I got to see you like the real Paula.
Yeah.
Because the first time I saw you at the startup Iceland,
Yeah.
and it was like
I
a
was
little
in
bit.
business mode.
Yeah, so it's like very far, Paula, far
Yeah.
away from me, Paula.
Yeah.
But then when we went for coffee, it was this grounded Paula,
Yeah.
the one
Slightly
to one.
chaotic, grounded, trying to chase my kids around.
But I bonded with you the
Yeah.
most with
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
circumstances,
Yeah.
and I knew I like you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, you too.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
so I think that those coffee talks are so important. And you and I offline have talked a lot about that, about how, connection is so important, especially as immigrants here.
Yeah.
And I it's so funny. I've been a bit reclusive actually the last year or so, and realized that I wasn't out and about and meeting people and doing all of the things that I normally do. And then upon realizing that, I've started kind of meeting people for coffee again, and I'm always so energized
That's
because
nice.
there's so many people here that I've met in this latter half of my life. Like, I'm not in like my teens or 20s anymore, right?
Oh.
So, it's so easy to make friends at that age. And then we moved to this remote island, and I'm a pretty bubbly person, clearly talkative, but also just really like to meet people. And still, it's challenging to kind of like deeply connect. And I don't know if that's because, like, again, it's like you get into family mode, you have your kids, and you kind of settle into, just routines and the people around you. So, yeah, I really enjoyed when we met, and connecting with you, frankly, outside of work,
Yeah, that's
right?
how we can. Yeah, true.
Like
That's what we call it.
like I'm a
Outside,
whole
we're not
person.
networking. We're
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
connecting.
yeah, yeah.
I really like this,
So I've been trying to
connecting.
do that a little bit more lately. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, when did you come to Iceland?
I came to Iceland in 2011. I was one of the last flights in. Grímsvötn was going at that time. So it was like 2010 was Eyjafjallajökull, and then
Ah,
2011 was Grímsvötn, which of course didn't get all of the
as
attention.
big.
Yeah, but I was moving here, and we were going to have our wedding here, and I landed on my birthday. I was one of the last flights in, so like if I got cold feet, there was,
Mhm.
you know,
No way
there
back.
was no way back. Good thing we
Iceland
love each
trapped you.
other. Yeah, and I actually thought, so it was all very exciting. I thought we would be living here for like 3 months or something, so just the summer. And because I was
Mm.
coming from Los Angeles, I grew up in Boston, but I was coming here from Los Angeles where I had lived for 11 years. And I was like, yeah, this is an exciting new fun thing to do. And I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah. He used to come visit me in LA all the time and didn't really like LA. So he's just like, well, why don't we, if we're getting married in Iceland, let's just like stay here for a couple of months, see if you like it. And if not, we move back to like Boston or something, where I'm from originally.
Well, that's
And that was
nice.
15 years and 2 kids ago. So so
Wow.
it's a hyper extended stay. I'm of course now a citizen, and I've
Wow.
worked. Thank
Congratulations.
you. Congratulations to all of us who gained citizenship and can vote for what, we want to
Yeah.
represent or to have ourselves represented. So, yeah, I love it. There was a discussion in one of the immigrant groups today about, what's the benefit of Icelandic citizenship, and there's just so many benefits of that.
What will you say? at least
So
name
many.
one
So
benefit.
voting for me is a big thing.
Oh,
Like I've always been pretty active in community things, and not necessarily politics for the sake of politics, but I am my dad is like a community activist. I uh, inherited that passion for standing up for different things in whatever way I can. And so for me, it just is the ability to vote is so crucial. And then also, I want the same citizenship my kids have. You know?
that was a big one for me.
Yeah,
When I got my citizenship, I was thinking, okay, so why is it that I want to have this citizenship? Why is this passport so important
yeah,
to me? And I was like, of course, my son is Icelandic.
yeah,
I have to be Icelandic too. I don't want to be stopped at
yeah,
at the airport.
yeah. And at that,
It's like, who are you carrying?
yeah,
Are you stealing this kid
yeah,
or something?
yeah,
Go
yeah.
back.
Exactly. And it's that it's just simplicity, but also, we have to, I think it takes us like 7 years or something,
Hmm.
7 to 10 years to
To get that
even be
passport.
eligible for that passport.
True.
And by that point, we've contributed significantly to society in our own ways.
Well, I think you have
Yeah.
contributed
I
in
think there's a
very
lot of people
significant
that
ways.
have, yeah. Maybe my way is a little bit more visible, but I
Yeah.
appreciate you saying that. Um, but yeah, I think that we all contribute either like in business or just how we as individuals come come to society or to the table. So
Let
I love being a dual citizen. I think it's a remarkable privilege to be able to do that.
Last time I talked to you, we were discussing this how much input has have you bring to Iceland versus what Iceland had give you.
Yeah,
And you were very thankful about Iceland.
yeah, I'm thankful for it, but I also do feel, it depends on the day, to be honest.
Okay.
There are some days where I'm just euphoric when the weather is like today's weather was, where, I'm just really, really appreciative. There's a lot of things going on in the world, geopolitically and economically, and I feel happy to be living in a country that prioritizes peace. But we are a society of diverse people and diverse views,
True.
and like in a lot of other places, sometimes Iceland can make me feel like like secondary.
Okay.
And so I do feel that while I am appreciative of being here, I'm not I don't really believe in toxic positivity. I believe in honest, pragmatic positivity where you weigh both the negative and positive elements of life and society and where you fit into it. So I for sure have had a lot of discussions, particularly with immigrants, but also Icelanders from the countryside or Icelanders who moved abroad for a lengthy period of time or really any period of time and then suddenly weren't part of the cementing social structure that those who stayed had created. And so I do sometimes identify with other people with the isolation that they felt or the being passed over for opportunities. And I'm always grateful for the opportunities I have. I've had people really stand up for me, particularly when I'm not in the room. I think that that's really important.
Wow.
That's something that's so significant. Like if
Hmm.
I'm not there and there's an opportunity to bring up my name and they bring up my name, I'm always really appreciative because I do that
Yeah.
to other people.
That's so nice.
And so in that sense, I'm grateful and thankful. But there like all societies, there are challenges here, and there seems to be a growing sentiment of anti-immigrant sentiment, uh, anti-intersectional anything sentiment, right? So leaning way far right, conservative. And I wouldn't even call it conservative. I just think that it's anti society, frankly, because society is supposed to be diverse and made up of all kinds of people that
Yeah.
somehow find commonality together. And we're up against some friction now. So there are days where, as much as uh, I am grateful for things that Iceland has given me, there are days where I'm like, I've contributed a lot more to Iceland sometimes than I feel I've been given back. And we have to be able to talk about those things. We have to be able to have healthy dialogue and also just understand when something is venting and not be seen as ungrateful or
Yeah, true.
spoiled or whatever designation is placed on somebody who has opinions on their own life experience that they're currently experiencing or can relate to other people who are also experiencing. So I have a lot of really interesting conversations, predominantly with immigrants, of course, but one of the things that I've discovered is is again, I thought a lot of the challenges that I had were because I was either a woman in a heavily male dominated business, or because I was an immigrant, or some intersection of those two things, or an outsider. And then I started to meet folks from the countryside, or again, people who lived abroad, and they felt they could identify more with the immigrant population here than they could the people that they had grown up with.
Yeah, I
So
agree
that's
on this.
fascinating.
I also
Yeah.
experienced actually when I thought about starting the podcast,
Yeah.
is because I was connecting with so many Icelanders
Yeah.
that have been living abroad for long,
Yeah.
and they actually are experiencing very similar
Hmm.
things as immigrants.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
interesting. Belonging is not just a theme; it's a thing.
Oh, yes. And one thing that we talk about a lot, of course, in the DEI circles and stuff, is it's beyond diversity and inclusion and equity. It's belonging, and you can't have equity if there isn't belonging.
Yeah.
And so I feel like we lean into that. I have a nonprofit called Women Tech Iceland, and we do a lot of work in the tech industry, which ripples into society because we're, an open group. So we welcome kind of everyone to come in and see where they might fit into the tech sector, or where they should fit into the tech sector if somebody's excluding them. And we have a lot of conversations lately about access
Mm-hmm.
and platforms. So, if everyone's starting off on a different platform, then they're not starting on an equal footing. And how do we as a society, or we in the tech sector, how do we
Handle
equalize
this.
the platform so that
Yeah,
everyone has an entry point and the ability to stay
and a voice
and a voice? It's so
in the
critical.
room.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm so thrilled that you started this podcast. Like I just and just your social media presence in general. I
Oh, thank you.
just really I feel like there's so many great people here in this
Yeah,
country, this tiny little country.
but we're silent. We're not talking
Yeah.
a lot, or we're just
Yeah.
shy because we have maybe felt excluded.
Yeah.
But these type of
Yeah.
things start and open the conversation like about inclusivity, and
Yeah.
that we're just like any other Icelandic. We
Yeah.
just want to be
Well, we were
part of a
talking about that.
society. We
W-
just want to
Yeah,
belong.
we were talking about that before. Should we introduce ourselves as Íslandskonur? Because, like, we are. We're,
Yeah, yeah, true.
Icelandic women now. And yeah, I agree with you. But that brings up another thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we are often kind of challenged because there's data around the fact that immigrants and women, people of color, folks from the LGBTQIA community, uh, in one way or another, there's opportunities that just miss them intentionally or unintentionally, right? And we end up creating our own opportunities. And there's a huge number of entrepreneurs in the immigrant population, for example.
Yeah.
And part of that is because some opportunities, like, there aren't as many job opportunities. Um, so the society even benefits from that entrepreneurial spirit, or that survival spirit, or that, like, you know what? No one's taking a bet on me. I'm going to take a bet on myself. And I meet a lot of people that like that,
Yes,
and
we are a little bit like that.
yeah, I think we are. And so we end up like contributing in ways that don't meet into a metric or statistic,
Yeah, yeah,
because when we start our own thing, that creates, other opportunities. People see themselves, and when we're visible, people
yes.
see themselves and then take chances on themselves, and it has a ripple effect. And
But
I think
this
that's
leads
important.
to a very good question,
Yeah.
big question I have.
Yeah.
Like when you arrived to Iceland the
Yeah.
first time, you could see the landscape
Yeah.
from outside.
Yeah.
And you brought this international perspective
Yeah.
onto Iceland. Like how was that, Paula? Can we go a
Yeah.
little bit back? Like the Paula that came to Iceland,
Yeah.
how did you see the island when you first arrived?
It's so funny. So I have two things, and I've talked about this on different speaking engagements, where I fell in love with Iceland first.
Yes.
Right, I was here on holiday. I loved it. I was here with a group of friends. Came back the following year. Met my husband on that trip,
Yeah.
and then fell in love with him.
Yeah.
Iceland wasn't enough of a draw to me to come to Iceland. The
Okay.
idea of being with my husband and the family we would create together,
That was it.
and that was the opportunity for me. I always make decisions based on
Love.
yeah, maybe love, but my personal life, which of
Yeah.
course the basis of all of that, whether it's a family you're creating or the family you grew up in, all of
Yeah.
that base is love. But I was working at the intersection of entertainment and technology when I met him, and I was a consultant when I met him. So I had a lot more freedom to make decisions and to look at Iceland and say, like, this is a magical place, and I've met this magical man, and now I want to create this magical family
I
and
love
live
how
my
you see
dreams.
Iceland. I love it.
Yeah. And so, but in a practical sense, because again, I'm a very pragmatic person, it was of the countries I could move to, Iceland at the time, post crash, reinventing itself, looking for new industries to diversify its GDP. I, as a experienced American marketing executive,
Yes.
was could find work here.
This is
You know,
a big thing.
it was. You used to. I don't think you can now, but you used to be able to get a specialist visa for marketing. Because even today, as far as it's come in the last 15 years that I've been here, there's still a dearth of people with go to market, which is a very specific type of marketing experience, and growth marketing. And most of the companies here and the industry itself is young. It's post crash. So they're all very young companies. We're starting to see really cool exits and things. But it still has a way to go. So I looked at it from the perspective of, okay, can I make all of these boxes check? Right.
Okay.
So handsome husband,
Check.
Exotic dopamine inducing environment to live in, check. Right? Can I keep the career that I've worked so hard to have and the reputation that I've garnered over the successes that I've built in the first decade of my career? Can I keep that in this country without knowing the language?
Oh, that's the big question.
Yeah. And for me, it was a check.
Wow.
Now, of course, I still operate in Iceland speaking predominantly English, because that's, from a career perspective, that's where my value is.
Yeah.
You know, like most of the companies I work with are technology companies.
Yeah.
Kate Cut is one that I've been with for the last year and a half. Market is outside of Iceland. My native English skills are important in that sense.
Iceland need you in that sense.
Yeah, so Iceland needed me, and so the power dynamics were in my favor in that respect. Would that be true if I moved here in 2026? I'm not sure.
Wow.
I'm not sure it would be, especially now that there's so much emphasis on having having Icelandic first.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is that the society feels that it has enough people who speak Icelandic that they don't necessarily, or they don't feel they need people who don't speak Icelandic. So when I came in, prioritized somebody with international experience who's going to be able to help grow our companies abroad was a priority over the inconvenience of my level of Icelandic. Now, I'm not sure that would be the case, where, you know, like we've had a lot of dialogue in society about just Icelandic. And it seems to always be in not from the sense of learn this beautiful language. It is a strikingly beautiful language.
Yeah.
It's also very difficult. Um,
I personally love Icelandic.
yeah,
I enjoy when I can say, I don't know,
yeah,
sikur.
yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I
so
love Icelandic.
I got a really great compliment earlier today. Somebody was calling me to speak at an event, and we started the conversation in Icelandic.
Uh-huh.
And then I reached my like what I feel is my ability to have an intelligent conversation in a language that's my a second language.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, "Hey, do you mind if we switch? Because I presume
Oh.
you're going to ask me about things around the event, and I don't know if I can answer them. I
Oh.
don't know if I can sound intelligent if I answer in Icelandic."
But I think Icelandic
Yeah.
people is very open to listen the broken
Yes.
Icelandic.
Yes, but the biggest compliment she gave me was she's like, "Oh my gosh, your accent was so perfect that I thought that you had
Oh.
like." I was like, "Yeah, I think maybe I should work a little less on my accent and a little more on memorizing the words so that it's,
Oh
you know,
yeah, true. So you will say
like I've
with the
perfected the
very
sound." So if I stick to the script, I'm gonna be okay. But yeah, and if you're right, most people are actually really really patient, and because there is such pride in the language, but it's also kind of a barrier, right? So
Yeah, true.
it has been weaponized a lot of times as a means for exclusion.
But then we
Yeah,
go into this that in every area in the
yeah,
world, in every area, like in the workplace, whatever, there are
certainly in the States.
systems
Yeah,
that we have to like decompress,
yeah,
understand,
yeah, yeah,
deconstruct,
yeah,
and then put it back together like a Lego piece,
yeah,
like a Lego game.
yeah,
You know Legos.
yeah. I'm like actually visualizing that in my
Yeah,
head right now.
we're
Just
both
like,
creative, so
yeah,
we can like see what we're
yeah.
talking about.
See if my Canva skills are good enough to actually make that visual happen.
But
Yeah,
isn't it like Iceland
yeah,
is a place that we also have to like understand the system
yeah.
and then get in and then try to
Maybe.
create.
Or
How was
better
for you?
yet, I believe that to some extent. I like you can't just like run in like a bull in a china shop and break everything.
Okay.
But
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I do think that as society becomes more diverse, more inclusive, and people feel like they belong,
mm-hmm.
overall, the society itself adapts and changes. Laws are influenced. Uh, how you perceive laws is influenced. You know, that might have been true if you had inherent knowledge about X. But now there's a group of people who don't have inherent knowledge about X. So is this an opportunity to change things for the better so that the society is more um, conducive to greater understanding? I think one of the things I
Mm-hmm.
really value about living here is just this sheer curiosity of people. Like, that's actually how I connected with my husband. He was just curious. We had similar taste in music. Um, he from somebody who was from a town of 600 people at the time. It's grown since. He's from the south, and then moved to the big city of Reykjavik, which
Yeah.
to me seems like a small town. It's like a mini version of Boston. There's a lot of similarities there.
How many people live in Boston?
I have no idea. I'd have to Google it.
When
But
I
I met him when I was in LA, so there was probably
okay.
400,000 people in my neighborhood.
Oh
Like
wow,
LA's
what
a
a
big.
difference.
I have no idea. That's not actual data, but but you know what I mean.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
it's a much larger place,
Yeah.
and so coming here and you shrink things down, and there's just this curiosity around people who come here, right?
Yeah.
It's a very open and welcoming place, generally speaking. Um, unless you impact a power structure, right? So an existing group has dominance over a certain thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then other people come out and they help at first,
Mm-hmm.
but then they take pride in how they've helped, or they take ownership of the experience that they've brought in, and then it becomes threatening, right? because now you're a threat to maybe my job or my position in
Because now you know the
politics.
language, you have understand the system, you know how this works, and now maybe you're stronger than us or something like that.
And maybe
Oh,
always was, but
oh,
there was a barrier there, and
sounds scary.
yeah, it does sound scary. But it's so funny, and that's not just true of Iceland, that's true of everywhere. I
Everywhere.
mean, like we have these same debates
Empires for
in the States.
years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's much smaller, so you feel it faster. And I think that that's the difference. It's not this big, overwhelming system.
Hmm.
So, but there is this inherent curiosity and creativity. And it reminds me a lot when I tell people that I moved here from Los Angeles, a lot of people are like, oh gosh, that's so wildly different. But to me, it really isn't. When you go into any coffee shop, your barista is going
Hmm.
to be an actor or musician or like,
Ah.
and that feels very familiar. I used to talk to people in the coffee shop
Hmm.
about, you know, the castings they went on or the next gig that they're playing with their band and stuff. You have people who are multi-layered
Yeah.
and have lots of interests and float because it's an island life. You go where the opportunity is. So you
True.
have people that like worked in aviation but are now in like biosciences or something,
Yeah.
or who started off in the arts and are now in technology. And in the same way that that experience from someplace totally different. So the air industry over to biosciences. You had all of these experiences and then you bring them into a new place. And with that, changes that place for the better, usually, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way that I feel we should be looking at people who come into the country
Hmm.
from other places
Yeah. We're
and
layered too.
can take those layers. Yes, add layers to the
Bunch of
society,
onions.
make it dynamic. We're all a bunch of onions. and and I think that that's so important. And this kind of comes back to the original conversation about meeting people in coffee shops
Hmm.
and even at networking events, not showing up to network,
Hmm.
but to just like hope that you connect with somebody else or somebody's else,
At, at some
Yes.
level or
And
any level.
I always try and find my connection to somebody. And I'm
Oh.
one of those people that when somebody's telling a story
Hmm.
and I tell a story back, and it's not because I'm trying to one up a story, it's because I'm like, I found a connection point, I think.
Yeah.
And I always need to kind of try and connect with somebody. And I just think that there is curiosity from the Icelandic society about people, but it's just when those people come and they stay, or they come and they think of something that somebody else hadn't thought of, or they take a new spin on something, and that
Yeah.
somehow is, instead of being like really cool, becomes threatening. And I think that that's where we have challenges. I think I'm oversimplifying this
Yeah, of
problem,
course,
but
somehow, because
yeah,
we were discussing this belonging and trying
yeah,
to be part of a society,
yeah,
and sometimes we get into spaces where our voices are shuttered
yeah,
because there is a dominant voice in the room,
yeah,
and we just have to follow the structure that this is how it is, and we just don't
yeah,
have to say anything. But I'm very happy to hear
yeah,
that you're actually not shuttered. When you're in a room, you try
yeah.
to be part of the conversation regardless.
Yeah, and also I'm okay with the friction if I don't agree with somebody. And I think one of my friends called it the like here there's like a lack of Socratic debate, which is very popular. Like at least where I'm from,
Hmm.
Boston is highly political and um, just there's tons of universities there, and so like in all segments of society, you have people that are just like, oh, you feel this way, well, I feel this way. And
Yeah.
it's not like a challenge necessarily.
Conversation.
It's conversation, and it can be challenged, but it doesn't have to be problematic.
Yeah. Oh,
It
yeah,
can be
that's
like,
the right word.
we don't agree on this.
Hmm.
I'm hearing your perspective, you're hearing my perspective, and and there should be more of that. So I'm not afraid of it, but I don't think that I can say that without being honest about the privilege in that. So, for example, when I've had challenges in companies
Mm-hmm.
where I didn't agree with something, usually with a dominant figure,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to walk away from that situation. My life or my career wasn't threatened by that. And there's privilege in that.
But is it because you were the boss or under a
Sometimes,
CEO?
sometimes,
You were the chief in something, so you
yeah,
could actually have a voice.
yes, absolutely. There's privilege in that. And
Yeah,
I think that we
true.
have to be aware of that because there was a woman in the UK who was writing a book about like corporate activism, and
Mm-hmm.
somebody who I had worked with in the States was like, oh, talk to Paula. She's known for standing her ground on things. But there is consequence to that. I certainly have had to walk away from roles
Oh,
because me having a different perspective or standing up for somebody
mm-hmm.
or whatever just isn't how we do things here,
It
right?
has consequences.
There's consensus or there's nothing.
That's scary.
Yeah, and I do still stand up for things, but I also, and as I'm here longer or
Mm-hmm.
have been in situations where it was beneficial for me to not speak about something, I have not spoken. I'm not always the bravest person in the room. A lot of times I'm the bravest person in the room, but there are times where I have to make yeah, a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Is this worth it to me to jump on this soapbox? So I'm more calculated about the soapboxes I jump on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm forgiving, I think, of people who have an opportunity to change something and then just don't because the dynamics are threatening to them. But I also know that because I stand up for things and other people do as well, um, if they see that I've stood up for something that was meaningful to me, then maybe they'll feel more empowered to stand up too. And in that sense, you're also doing
But
a
when
service.
you
Yeah.
say that you stand up for somebody,
Yeah.
is it this person someone that you are connected to, related
Not
to
always.
somehow, or
Not
you have
always.
created a friendship,
Yeah.
or how
Sometimes,
is that?
sometimes, sometimes it can be a coworker. Sometimes it's just something I see in the news.
Oh,
And sometimes standing up is being in an armchair quarterback. I don't know if like that's a term that people use here, but um and if you have a platform and you're able to stand up for somebody in that respect, that's also a way to do it.
I think we're going into this core who
Yeah.
Paula actually is.
Yeah.
You come across to me at least as a
Yeah.
very empathetic person.
Yeah.
And that's what like drives you regardless of whatever could happen or
Yeah.
consequences
Yeah.
when you feel this empathy. I
Yeah.
go always like in my belly because
Yeah,
I feel
because
it's a
it
core
lives
value.
here. It does live here, and also I think that this is a natural movement because when there is like an injustice or not, it's not always negative. It can be like the opportunity to platform somebody
Hmm.
or buying the product that they make or consuming it if it's a
Yeah.
podcast or television or whatever, and consuming that content, music. um, there's lots of positive aspects of justice, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't always have to be injustice. You can also stand up for somebody. If I fall in love with a thing or a person or like that's all I will talk about.
Yeah.
And I was in a meeting yesterday, and somebody that I was meeting with was saying like, "Oh, if you can get this person rallied behind you on this initiative, they will talk to everyone about it." And I'm like, sounds like my kind of people. So it works both ways.
Yeah.
It's not always putting the megaphone and doing the protest, which I think is very important.
We need it.
Yes, absolutely. I've run a number of them. And activism doesn't always have to be like super visible too. It could just be, I have a connection with this person that I think they're misreading the situation,
Hmm.
and I know that if you bring that up, it's going to be an explosion. But if I bring it up over here and fit it into the conversation and see from a different perspective, then you might be able to change the dynamic over here. And that's true whether I know somebody or not. Obviously, you stand up for the people that you know more than you stand up for other people you
Yeah.
know. But I think particularly since I've become an immigrant as well, I have a completely different perspective. So I was always empathetic to somebody's experience, but when I was experiencing certain things myself, it's deeper. And so then you're like, well, I am in a position to talk about these things. Why don't I talk about them? So
When it came
yeah.
to build this or co-found the Woman in Tech,
Yeah.
was empathy behind it? Did you feel connection to
It
the
might have
woman?
been more selfish than that, to be
Oh.
honest. So this is not my first women in tech organization. I worked for a very prominent women in tech organization in the States for a number of years. They were a client of my consulting company.
Mm-hmm.
And I was working in a company where I was the only woman executive and I was the only immigrant executive.
Wow.
I was certainly not the only immigrant in the company. But as the company grew, so as soon as I was visible, we started to attract more women who
Mm-hmm.
wanted to work there, which was great. Um, and but there was still dynamics. It was still heavily boys' club, and even though I, for the most part, for a while, fit into that infrastructure, it wasn't the first company I've worked in where I was the only woman. Um, there were stopping points for some people, or like as more people came into the company, like, oh, I felt this was really important and my boss didn't feel that was important, or there's got to be more women working in the tech sector. And so because I was in a leadership position, a lot of times people would come to me about things and say like, hey, I'm having this challenge, or I'd like to start this initiative. So there was a woman in this company, and her name was Armina Ilya. She's
Mm-hmm.
now over at Usher. And she was working in this company with me, and she wanted to start a women's initiative. And I was like, tell me more. And so she had trouble getting it championed with her boss, and so she came to me, and I was like, this sounds like a win-win-win. I know all of the benefits of women in tech, or women in entrepreneurship, or women in anything really.
Yeah.
Those communities just really drive change. They drive more diverse workforces. They change laws and company policies. Like, I'm all for women in something things. And so I said, okay, I can put some budget around it. Let's formulate this. And so we formulated a plan, and that was one of the most successful um, women in tech organizations in Iceland. And both she and I ended up leaving the company for various reasons,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't really do a lot with it. And then the company was sold. So I had a friend come into town, a podcaster actually.
Mm-hmm.
She was the number one women in tech podcaster in the world.
Oh,
She's a
wow.
friend of mine from LA, Esprit Devora. And so she came in and she's like, oh, I was thinking I was going to go meet with this person or this person. I'm like, why don't I just set up a meeting?
Wow.
And then you can just meet people. And one of the questions she asked at that meetup, Ocean Cluster gave us space for it. It was so great. Everyone was really nice about pulling this together. And one of the things she asked was, what do people want to leave this meetup with? Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Let's put an action item in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Tristan Gribben, who's an entrepreneur here, but a couple of other people as well, who said, we miss Konere Techne. And like, this was such a great community that you folks built. And we had all of the different tech companies engaged. We had events every month. And I was like, oh, well, I don't own that anymore. I was like, I can look into whether we can, get it back since they're not doing anything with it, because it'd been a couple of years at this point. I said, or we just start a new one. And
Wow.
so we just started a new one.
Wow.
And the people who were involved in that first initiative,
Mm-hmm.
it was like bringing the band back together.
Yeah,
So they
that's
came
nice.
back together. Inevitably, we made it more than just a Facebook group. So Valentina Griffin and I co-founded it together, and Armina ended up on our board. And, so
Nice.
it was a lot of people coming back together, and we've just been driving that for 9 years now. So we don't
Wow.
do monthly events, but we do regular events
And
now.
you're still there, out there.
Yeah, yeah,
Before you arrived to
yeah.
Iceland, you were not connected to Iceland or networks in any way.
No, not the only connection I had to Iceland. So there's a small population of Icelanders that live in LA.
Oh.
I didn't know them. They were friends of mine. Um, Mostly musicians and actors. And and it was so funny, but my connection to Iceland was more my friends in New York
Hmm.
who I worked in advertising. I worked for this amazing photographer, Glenn Wexler. He's an award-winning photographer. And now I actually, because I worked on a couple of those shoots, have award-winning advertising photography on my portfolio.
Oh
But
my God,
yes, thank you.
congratulations.
I will always love that because I came into his world because of friends of mine at a coffee shop.
Wow.
Yeah, so
You
I
just,
worked I worked for a tech company.
uh-huh.
There was Earth Cafe, which is this really amazing cafe in Los Angeles, and
Mm-hmm.
it attracts all of these just amazing people,
Mm-hmm.
creatives and whatever. So I used to go there every day, and after a while I made friends because they were always there and I was always there. And then the friend group kind of expanded, and I was looking to leave the company that I was working with.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, well, what about photography? You have a production background because I started my career in live events. And I was like, that's different than photography. So, but he was great, and this group of friends was great. So I was like, why not take a chance? I think that's something else Iceland can relate to,
Yeah.
right? Like you often see people have opportunities. Like I've never worked in this industry sector. I've never had that role, but somebody's taking a chance on me, so I'm going to take it. So I had that in
Yeah.
LA. And yeah, we really clicked. They got to leverage my big background in PR
Mm.
and other areas. So I was able to give him visibility he hadn't had in a really long time, and then that production background, I learned a lot from him. But it was through that group of people
Yeah.
I ended up, and through him, I ended up working on a Pepsi Max shoot.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I think every Iceland story has a thread of Pepsi Max somewhere. So that was my story. So friends of mine from New York who were in advertising had hired this photographer, and I was his producer. And so
You were
yeah,
connecting there. This was
we
your
connected there,
network.
and yeah, and they were like, we became really close friends. Like the creative director, this guy Noah Ross, he became like one of my besties. He's still one of my besties, and he used to come to Iceland all the time. Loved it,
Wow.
particularly for New Year's,
Oh,
because in
it's
in
the best New Year's
yeah, but
are in
also in
Iceland.
marketing, advertising, PR, like these kind of
Oh.
front of house business
Mm-hmm.
units, the only time we can really let our hair down is the week between Christmas and New Year's.
Oh.
So they had been trying to get me to come to Iceland for years, years. And I was just like, I left Boston because of the weather. Why
And you're
would
taking
I?
me to Iceland.
Yeah, like
Forget it.
talk to me when you go to St. Thomas or something. But in 2008, I was then running my consulting company, and I had a really great year that year. So I decided to treat myself, and I came. And of course, like it was a really great year for me, terrible year for Iceland. So
Yeah.
I, yeah, I came on that trip and I loved it, and met all of his Icelandic friends who are all creatives as well. And
You were networking. You were connecting
yeah, yeah,
right
just really
away.
connecting.
What
Yeah,
I was thinking is like, in order to be part of this society
yeah,
and this system,
yeah,
it's very important to connect
yeah.
and build these connections and
Oh no,
network.
it's so important, and that also reminds me of Boston. Actually,
Okay.
Boston is a heavily networked, and LA,
Mm,
right?
LA, yeah,
You
for
can't
sure.
you can't be in
What else are you doing in
yeah,
LA?
like there's always that one story at the Oscars of somebody who came from the outside, but the reality is they had to do a lot of networking to make the connections to get the roles to get, something that would even be eligible for an Oscar. And I do feel Iceland it's one of those things, like I said earlier, where you have to it's this happens everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so obvious because it's such a small place.
Yeah.
Like there's unabashed nepotism, there's unabashed needs for networks.
So important to
It
connect.
really, really, really is. And so to that point, um, I met all of these creatives through my friends in advertising in New York. And I loved the trip. I came back the next year. That's the trip I met my husband
Yeah.
on. And when we were dating, we dated long distance for a year and a half between here and LA, which
Mm-hmm.
was a lot. And so I was like, well, if I'm going to be spending time in Iceland and I'm a consultant, I might as well see what the business landscape is. I
Exactly.
never, and I talk about this at business things all the time, I will always stand on the soapbox for Icelandic innovation. There are so many amazing things happening here. I don't know what it was like post crash, but it's fertile ground since 2008. And everyone, like, Iceland's brand is not the innovation capital of the northern hemisphere. Iceland is its landscapes and its dramatic skies and,
Yeah, true.
fjords,
Nature.
beaches, all these things. It's like where all of the big tech executives come to decompress after they've had their big exit, right? Like when
Even Beyonce was
Instagram
here.
got sold. Yes, everyone does.
Decompressing.
Yeah, crickets. like that's where everyone hangs out apparently. It's so cool in that way, and I love that about here.
Yeah.
So I took, obviously, first the creative folks that I met through my creative friends,
Mm-hmm.
and then some of them were tied into business, and then I got to meet other people. So every time I was visiting my then boyfriend, I was checking out what the scene was.
But that's very important, Paula.
Yeah,
I think this is
yeah,
something that we need to like make a stop,
yeah,
because how many people come to Iceland and they say, I'm lonely, I'm alone, I
yeah,
don't have friends, I miss my country, I want to go.
yeah,
And maybe they're building a new family here
yeah,
and they're just not connecting
yeah,
in anyhow. You were
yeah,
so lucky to at least know about Iceland
yeah,
from the outside.
yeah,
And then when you came, you created this now
yeah,
network space. You have
yeah.
created a platform for other peoples to come to Iceland.
Hmm.
So if you're coming to Iceland, you can come to the Woman in Tech events, because there you connect with
Oh
other
yeah, I mean, so
females.
we just had, so we're now actually going back into monthly events. Payal Shah, who's on our board, she came up with this concept of breakfasts. So we're going to be doing those.
But this is very good. So I
Yes,
will
so
go to this
monthly. Yeah,
breakfast.
the first one's on the 25th. They'll happen every month. But yes, like, and I think what we've clearly established as an organization is that we welcome everyone.
I love
So,
that.
because people, especially here in Iceland, I think it actually speaks to the core element of who we are here,
Yeah.
is that, like, we, like I was talking about, somebody moving from, like, the airline industry to biosciences or wherever, like, we're used to doing
This
that.
is the correct place
Yeah,
to
but then
experiment, to
but then
explore.
why do you say, no, I'm not going to go to the women in tech event because I'm not in tech?
Exactly. You
And
should try it.
yeah, yeah, come on in, the water's warm. And what's fascinating about that is that our events do attract a lot of people that are in prominent positions in the tech sector or the investment sector, but also people who are just curious. Like, we
Yeah.
use technology in our daily lives,
Yeah. So if you
and
use
we turn
ChatGPT,
them into businesses. Yes, we use all of the generative engines now. But then you are like,
yeah,
our lives are just so tech heavy.
yeah,
So
true.
now we get people who maybe don't work their day job in tech or aren't developers, but you're always like, it's the, like, one step away
Yeah,
from being in technology. So people do come and they
yeah,
enjoy meeting other people, and to that end you end up connecting with people either because of business or because you have some level of commonality as a person.
yeah.
And we really pride ourselves on that. That's one of my favorite aspects of our, what we do. Yeah.
Beside Woman in Tech, how many other events? What other events? Which other events
Oh my goodness,
should people
so
attend?
many.
I'm not very good in this. That's why I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Oh, well,
Where should
yeah.
I go, Paula?
There's so many things. Women, the organization, W.O. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they have events all the time. And those are around multicultural events, food sharing potlucks, knitting circles,
I would like
things
to
like
go to
that.
a
Yeah.
potluck, try
Yes.
something exotic.
Yes. And then there's just so many things.
That's
The
good.
music, like we don't have as many music venues now, sadly, as we used to. I love, so in LA, I
Mm-hmm.
would go to shows by myself all the time. I took myself out to dinner the other night
Mm-hmm.
after the Loewe event, actually.
Oh,
The panel discussion that Iceland Stova
yeah.
did. And it was so great. I used to do that all the time in LA. It's not something people do here. It's kind of awkward. We always have to be with somebody.
But this is
And
my
it was,
favorite part of you, that
it was
you
so
can
great.
take time for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
You can still networking,
Yeah.
working in business, being an entrepreneur, all of this,
Yeah.
but still thinking about how to take care of Paula.
Yeah. It's not easy. But in order for me to take care of Paula,
Yeah.
right? I hate talking about myself in the third person.
I always
To
do
take
that.
care of me.
Yes.
I called my husband and said, "Hey, the event just got out. I presume you all have eaten already. I'm going to take myself out to Posthus for some nachos
Okay.
and
Wow.
just sit." So I wouldn't be able to do that if there wasn't somebody taking care of my kids.
True.
Preferably my partner,
Yeah.
right?
True.
But so I feel like that's something that not everybody has. And so we have been pretty good. Just my business events, the Women Tech Iceland events, my
Yes.
birthdays, like anything, anytime, is I don't want somebody to miss something because they don't have childcare. Like we did with Women Tech Iceland a few years ago, we did a women innovators incubator. And it was like
Oh.
a micro incubator for women who just had ideas. They could have been established entrepreneurs, or they could have been somebody that just wants to take a chance on themselves.
Yeah. Nice.
And we didn't want anyone to miss anything because there wasn't childcare. So we set up this little like space.
Wow. That's huge.
And
Many
even,
people avoid events just
yeah,
because they don't have a babysitter.
yeah, yeah. And we know that, and like
it costs money most of the time.
and also, like kids aren't always, it's overstimulating for children to be in adult spaces a lot of times.
True.
But you just work with it, and I do think that that's something that's great about Icelandic society, is that we don't segment children to a different space. That is something that happens in the States a lot. Like if you showed up with your children, what's like wrong with you? And you're like, look, I came here.
Yeah.
Like I'm here.
This is
So,
Europe. This is open
yes,
space.
I love
We can
that.
come with our kids or dogs.
Yes,
Do you have
exactly.
dogs?
Anything we want. I don't have dogs. That's a big bone of contention in my household
Oh,
because
I love puppies.
my kids want a puppy.
Yay.
Yeah.
They can come to my house and check on my
Okay.
puppies.
We actually babysit at some of our friends.
Oh, now I know who can
pets.
babysit.
Yeah. It's great for me actually, because then they get the feeling of having a pet, and then the pet goes away.
Yeah,
Like
let
we
it
have
go
a
back.
bird. We have a bird.
Oh, that's
I don't have
nice.
to bring the bird for a walk. I just open
No.
its cage and she flies. But yeah.
But this is very
Yeah.
important that to have, yes, we're here as foreigners, we're trying to
Yeah.
belong, connect, being part of the
Yeah.
society, but we cannot forget ourselves.
I think that's so critical. I would not, when I lose my autonomy as an individual,
Mhm.
and there's been occasions of that here in a number of different spaces, whether it's like, well, this is what the family does. We always go to this thing together. And I'm
Yeah.
like, nobody asked me if I wanted to go, or well, my group of friends is doing this. I'm like, well, I love your friends, but what about my friends? Or the company events. Well, we all are going to do this. And it's like, okay, well, don't I get to say so I'm very independent. I need a lot of autonomy. And if I don't have it, I really crash.
Wow.
Like if I feel robbed basically if
Yeah.
I don't have that autonomy. So I fight for it.
Good.
That's not always easy because we all have
But it's necessary.
we all have obligations. But I agree with you. I think that even though we moved here, and in my case to start a family, my identity changed so significantly when I moved here. So I moved here, I was suddenly somebody's wife. and I was away from my whole network. So I was his network's something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the wife of my friend, or that's the wife of my son. And I was not my own person. I was
Yeah.
not,
You're
me.
building
Yeah. And then I had kids, one right after another.
motherhood.
And so suddenly I wasn't me. I was
Wow.
somebody's mom, which is a beautiful thing.
Yes. We love our kids.
Yeah.
Who don't?
We love them. We love every aspect. But yeah, it's so critical, and I have actively fought
Yeah.
for myself.
That's so good.
In every situation.
Such a huge example. We need to have
Yeah.
these topics out
Yeah.
because we get burnt out
Yeah.
and we feel like Iceland has done something to us.
Yeah.
And it's not Iceland
Yeah.
to blame or the country we have moved to.
No.
We have to stand with ourselves.
Yeah.
We have
But
to
it's
think.
also on our partners, our colleagues, to recognize, like, sometimes we mistake welcoming.
Yeah.
Like, if I've welcomed you,
Mm-hmm.
there's a certain level of ownership in that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I have given you space that I can take away, or I can block, or I can, so
Yeah.
that's something I'm always thinking about. And I do feel like, thank you so much for welcoming me.
Yeah.
But also give me the right to be myself here, or
Yes.
and I just, we have to be welcoming and curious, and also give people a sense of belonging. And we're not going to belong if we feel like we've given up ourselves in that process.
True.
So as we adapt to society and this new self that we've created by coming here,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that we have that responsibility to do certain things systematically, or but we also need the permission, or the absolute autonomy to be able to just still be ourselves. And I really
I like this because it's such a good example for our daughters. We both
Yes.
have daughters.
Yeah.
So it's such a good example for them to stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
And also our sons.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for every kid.
Yeah.
That yes, even our husband
Yeah.
also have to take their own time to take away and be their own. So everybody.
Yeah, and I think just looking at that on the binary, so like I'm straight, I have a male partner, and I'm a woman, but like I do think I think it's also important for my son to see his mother
Being independent.
setting up boundaries, standing on her own 2 feet.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for my partner to see that.
Yeah, true. I agree.
Because it is the intent. It's not often a bad intention when somebody is like, I want you to feel like you belong, so I'm bringing you over here.
Mm-hmm.
But when you forget to ask that person's permission in the process, it's like, okay, well, then you've inadvertently taken my autonomy. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm a big fan of my individuality, or anyone having their individuality. Yeah.
If there is something I take from this conversation, is that I have been doing so much to try to integrate, be part of Iceland, and feel Icelandic regardless of my color.
Yeah, and it's never good enough.
And I was like, oh, I'm so different. Everybody can see it. I have to keep trying.
Yeah.
But I forget myself in the process. I forget who I am.
Yeah.
Where do I come from? How much spice is that into my life?
Yeah.
To actually just be me.
Yeah, and we can still have consensus, right? Like we can get consensus in a group of people with them retaining themselves. And so I 100% agree with you. And I also think that we are examples to people locally who maybe grew up in a system or an environment where they had to just go along with something, and they see people kind of coming in with different perspectives or different ways of thinking and viewing and different creativity, and they're like, oh, I can do that too. So I don't think it's always like us getting influenced in one way. I think that we're contributing as much to other people seeing things differently. The Me Too movement in Iceland was a really good example of that, right?
True.
Like,
I love
once the foreign population here was talking about
free
their
the
overall
nipples.
experiences, it just really exploded. I
can't forget that moment.
Yeah, but it was wild.
Yeah.
And
Iceland is very good in that.
validating.
Yeah, and
Mm,
supporting us regarding like we can be open here. We're just free.
yeah,
So
yeah,
much. I'm from South America.
yeah,
You're from North America.
right.
And there is a lot of taboo
Yeah,
all the time. You
yeah,
grew up as a Catholic or
yeah, yeah,
around
yeah, yeah. Yep,
Catholicism.
Catholic, Irish, quasi conservative, liberal in views, conservative in action, kind of thing. I
My
think. Yeah,
family was very conservative
yeah,
and grew up also as a Christian school,
yeah.
Christian everything. So coming to Iceland is like, let's free the nipple. I am free.
Yeah, yeah,
No taboo, no boundaries. Let
yeah,
me be myself. And I think that's
yeah,
very good. This is one of the things. Like if you come to Iceland,
yeah,
don't forget to come and network.
yeah.
Try to connect. Be yourself. Think about yourself. Be independent. I am
Yeah.
taking this from you.
Yeah. You're not. You're doing all of this on your own. You're taking nothing
No,
from
but
me.
this
Yeah.
is such a good example. I will say this little story to close.
Yeah.
When my mom came to Iceland,
Yeah.
she was just laying on the couch the whole day.
Mm.
She felt like Iceland was helping decompress from
Yeah.
all the life. But she wasn't thinking, this is my new life. This is my home.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why also she lives in Denmark now.
Yeah. Maybe.
She just moved.
I mean, one of the things that happened to me when I touched down in 2008 for the New Year's Christmas letting my hair down with my friends from New York situation,
Mm-hmm.
I really felt rooted. It was it was so deep. Like I stepped off the plane because, of course, we didn't have a gate, right? We like literally were on the tarmac. Anyone who's been through the airport now knows that more than ever. And I just felt roots. It was such a strange sensation. And then I had a really amazing trip, and then I came back on the next one, and then I really clicked with my husband, and now I am rooted here.
But this is
So,
so
yeah.
important
Yeah.
that you gotta connect with the island
Yeah.
to make it your home.
Yeah.
Because when you see it, it's not your home by
Yeah.
default.
No.
But you gotta change a little bit or open a little bit your mentality, open your mind. Like
Yeah.
this is home.
Yeah.
This could be home. And if there are harsh
Mhm.
situations, we can overcome them. We
Yeah.
just find a new solution because Iceland is this place of possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I also in that so I do two things.
Yes.
I can vent and complain about all of the things that drive me nuts about living here, and there is a list. But at the same time, as I can cry in the corner and be like have a pity party, or it's not even a pity party. That's disingenuous. It's a recognition of challenges,
True.
very, very real and
Wow.
very, very hard challenges.
Yes.
And still do the things. Like, I don't want to get up and go to this event, but because I'm gonna meet somebody.
Yes.
I'm gonna hear something. I'm gonna, take a chance on something. It might not work out,
But
but I made the effort.
yeah, great.
And
that's
then,
great.
And then you move on to the next.
I love
Yeah.
that. Well, thank you, Paula. You have been a great guest.
Yeah.
I'm so happy.
It's so great to be here. I just adore you. So I'm
No.
thrilled that you invited me over.
Oh, thank you very much for being here.